No, not that one. We don't talk about that one.
One day you will have to answer for your actions. And God may not be so merciful.
This is already doing badly for being from that garbage fire they called a show. But this figure and the show it comes from makes me want to die. No, that didn't happen. And then they had to ruin it with a sequel. I will talk about Robots in Disguise someday. Just you
wait.
The time has finally come. I've talked so much shit about this show but never actually given my opinion. But now it's time to review Transformers Robots in Disguise 2015. Fuck this show! This is not only the worst Transformers show I have ever seen, this is the worst piece of media I have ever seen. I have never seen anything so incompetently written. It is a joke, an insult to Transformers Prime fans, an insult to Transformers fans in general. Actually, it's an insult to people with a fucking brain. Let's start with the story. It's Power Rangers. It's fucking Power Rangers. It follows the exact same format. New Decepticon shows up. The Autobots try to stop him, they fail, they use the power of teamwork, and then they beat him. And it becomes even more like Power Rangers when they get their own Megazord. No, this is not a combiner, this is a Megazord. They look exactly the same. And then Cyclonus comes in at the very end like, oh yeah, I'm the villain. What the fuck is this writing? You can't just have some random guy come out of nowhere and say, oh, I'm the villain, by the way. Fucking hell, this show. I'm not going to go into more detail about the story because that's literally all it is. So let's go on to the characters. I already hate Bumblebee, but this has got to be the worst version of him from any show or any movie or just any piece of Transformers media. He's trying way too hard to be like Optimus. And he's trying way too hard to be hip and cool to fit in with his teammates. But the reality is he's an incompetent leader that acts like a fucking child. And Optimus, oh my god. Optimus. So you know his big sacrifice at the end of Prime? Yeah, it doesn't mean anything now, he just comes back to life in the first episode. Actually, apparently he was alive the whole time. And how is this version of Optimus even weaker than the Prime version? He gets his ass handed to him by Minicons. And when it comes to leadership, he's just as incompetent as Bumblebee. Sideswipe and Strongarm. These two are the worst. The absolute worst. I get what they're going for. Strongarm is a police officer, Sideswipe is a rebellious teenager, so they're not supposed to get along. But all they do is bicker and bicker, and it's so annoying. It feels more like an angry mother and a spoiled child. And Strongarm will not shut up about her stupid rules. Sir, that's against the rules. I don't think that's in the rule book. We're breaking so many rules. Shut up, for God's sake. Grimlock. Yeah, he's alright. I mean, Grimlock is supposed to be a dumbass, so I'll let it slide. And compared to everyone else in this show, he's a goddamn genius. Drift and his two students, which I don't remember the name of, and I don't give a shit. I hate the recent interpretations of Drift. oh, I have a sword, that means I'm a samurai. And also, when it comes to him and his students, it's the same thing in every episode. Check out Diamond Bolt's review, he explains pretty well what I'm talking about.
Students, you cannot be trusted.
Windblade. I literally have nothing to say about her, god damn it. Jazz. Where the fuck were you in Prime? You were in Fall of Cybertron, you weren't in Prime, but then you're in this show. Where were you, Jazz? Bulkhead. He literally shows up out of nowhere in an episode that isn't even about him. Steeljaw, aside from Cyclonus, this is technically the main villain. He sucks. He's so generic. He's just, world domination, I'm the best Decepticon. Danny and Russell. They're pretty okay human characters. I mean, I hate human characters in Transformers, but they're alright, I guess. But the background characters. I mean, it accurately depicts humanity as being stupid, but oh my god, these people are so stupid. Whenever any of the Transformers are seen by humans, they just fall for the same trick every time. Oh, sorry guys, our animatronics are malfunctioning. There are even some people that start a cult because they saw a Decepticon in the woods. Then there's Starscream. I made a video about this saying that he should not have survived. He was in between 3 Predacons. The same Predacons that put Ultra Magnus in a hospital bed. The same Predacons that genuinely scared Megatron. But Starscream not only survives, he not only escapes, but he kills these Predacons with an old laser cannon that hadn't been used for years. It shouldn't have been able to turn on, let alone function. And there's Soundwave. How do you incompetent morons screw up Soundwave? His plan is so fucking dumb. I had to re-watch the episode to make sure I got all the details right, because yes, his plan is really that dumb. So his plan is to blow up the world so he can generate enough energy to give Megatron a phone call to summon him back to Earth. That is fucking stupid. Soundwave had no problem opening portals in Prime. He had no trouble contacting people in Prime. So why does he have to go through all this complicated shit now? Also, I've heard so many people say, oh, this show would be so much better with Megatron. They should have brought back Megatron instead of Prime. This is a stupid argument for 3 reasons. 1, they would probably find a way to ruin him. 2, even if they didn't ruin him, having one good character in a shit show doesn't make it any better. 3, it doesn't make sense for him to come back because Megatron quit. His last words in Prime were,
"The Decepticons are no more, and that is final."
He's probably hanging out on a farm somewhere like Thanos at the end of Infinity War. And yet there are at least 3 Decepticons who try to bring him back. What would have made more sense is Soundwave picking up where Megatron left off. But no, let's just try and bring back Megatron. And he doesn't even come back in the end, so what was the point? You ruined Soundwave for no reason. Thank you, you fucking hack writers. There are a few characters that I'm missing out, but they're either just like 1 episode nobodies, or like The Stunticons, why are they here? Wouldn't it make more sense to include, oh, I don't know, Bruticus? He was in Fall of Cybertron, which this show is connected to. I mean, I congratulate them on giving Menasor an actual good design. But why are they here? Speaking of the character designs, some of them are okay. Optimus is great, Starscream is great, Soundwave is great, but like a lot of the main cast look like actual shit. Bumblebee and Sideswipe especially. It's like they were thinking, how do we make this guy look like a rebellious teenager? I know, spiky hair and Japanese symbols. Oh, and give him a katana as well. That will make him so cool. This show gives me brain damage. Now, I've saved the worst bit for last, because it just shows that they did not give a fuck writing the show. If you don't know, this show is connected to Transformers Prime, which is connected to the Cybertron games. And whenever they reference those other bits of media, they get every detail wrong. So there's this scene where Strongarm is in like a parking garage. She has like a flat tire or something, I don't remember. And next to her is the vehicle that Knockout turned into. And Strongarm says something along the lines of, why do I always get put next to common criminals? Bitch! Knockout became an Autobot at the end of Prime. What, did he just go back to being a Decepticon after everything that happened? Then there's Jazz. Like I already said, why is he here? He wasn't in Prime, but he was in the Cybertron games. He doesn't mention Cliffjumper at all, even though he was like his best friend. Speaking of which, the human characters in Prime, we don't see them at all. They're not even mentioned. Yeah, some friend you are, Bumblebee. Then there's just stuff like, what happened to Shockwave? Or, more importantly, what happened to Arachnid? Why is Arachnid more important? Because they have the character model for Arachnid, but they never use it for actual Arachnid. They use it for a background character. Remember the guns in Prime that did actual damage? Yeah, they've been replaced with these stupid little pistols that don't do damage to anything. They probably couldn't even hurt a fly. It's also just not funny, and the action scenes are all the same, and they're all really boring. This is the most negative review I've ever done. Like, I was pretty hard on Kingdom Tracks, but compared to this show, Kingdom Tracks is a masterpiece. This show gets a -10 out of 10. That's it for me. Please be sure to leave a like and a comment, join my Discord server, and subscribe to The Great Soundwave. I'll see you next time.